Hello, I'm Steph from iDriver Classic, and today we are back at Goodwood Revival. Now, Goodwood Revival is one of my favourite events of the entire year. Scratch that, it's my favourite event. It is brilliant. Now, I want you to feel the magic that I feel even when it's raining like this. So in today's video, we're going to chop and change throughout the 3 days. I'm going to show you some of the things that you cannot miss at Revival, and I'm going to show you why it's worth putting in your diary for next year. Now, first of all, we're going to head off to the Paddocks and see some of those cars in action. Now, if you've never been to Goodwood before, you might be wondering what on earth is going on here. And as part of this, we are visiting the Paddocks. Now, when you go to buy your Goodwood ticket, you'll be offered a chance to add on a Paddock pass. And you'll say to yourself, well, do I bother doing it or not? But here's the thing, for me, this is one of the best bits of Goodwood Revival, because not only do you get to see everybody walking round in the thick of it, you get to hear all the cars, you can also chat to people like the drivers, the mechanics, all the people that make up the very spirit of Goodwood, and you can see all the vehicles up close. Now, I will say that if you have got a child, you can bring children into this, but really you do need to be really careful if you're bringing them in, because as you can probably see here, this is a working area. There are cars everywhere, and so you just need to keep an eye on anyone you're bringing in here. Now, there is a bit of a dress code, and it is worth mentioning. So it's very not loose, but it's one of those that they do try and stick to. So if you are coming in here, it is, I would say, smart dress. There is a board that mentions it as you walk into the Paddocks, but it's one of those that's worth knowing. So it is shirt and tie for men, and for ladies it's smart dress with no midriff showing. So really it's a very small ask. Now I'm going to let you hear a little bit more noise and get really into the spirit of this. And if you're wondering, by the way, which car I wanted to take home, it was this Thames van that Motor brought in. Absolutely loved that. Now, it isn't just big cars that you're going to see in here, driven by adults. You also get to see these. Now, if you've never seen them before, they're called an Austin J40, and we're going to see a little person try these out later on. For me, they are an absolute highlight. And what they do is they do something called the Sectionton Cup. And this is a really great way to bring children into motorsport. And children take these out, and so each child owns theirs, or a driver is picked for one that somebody owns, a little bit like race cars that you see elsewhere throughout the event. And then they race them. And this year, really interestingly, I spotted Jerry Halliwell of Spice Girl fame and her husband Christian Horner and their son. So I think he was racing it this year, which I thought was quite a cool thing. Being the face of iDriver Classic, well, seeing this Betty Richmond driving school, it seems almost remiss of me not to pop in and have a look and see if I can repass my driving test, but 1950 style. So buckle up, we're going to go and resit my test, and it's going to be miserable faces all round if I don't get that positive pass. Now, this was absolutely brilliant, and apparently it was exactly the same as how it was run in the 1950s and 60s. And well, I passed with flying colours, and part of that was because I used to drive a car with trafficators, so I knew what the arm signals meant, because the man told me that lots of people don't really understand those. But I thought, well, mate, I've got learned experience, because, well, no one knows what a trafficator is. And so if I hadn't used the arm signals, well, I probably would have died. Now, it's no secret that I'm not really a bike person, but I know that plenty of you are. And I just want to reassure you that if you are looking to come to Goodwood and you think, oh, is it all just going to be cars? It's not at all, because you get motorbike displays, you get motorbike racing, you even get your motorbike paddocks. So what I'll do is I'll just go quiet and show you a selection of some of the bikes and some of the pop-up displays around Goodwood that have motorbikes on show. So for those of you that prefer life on 2 wheels over 4 or maybe even 3, there is something for you here as well. For those of you that have been to Goodwood before, you might have seen this. This is a bike display by a group called the Hornets. And the idea is they almost try to come across like a scary rebel biker group. But if you're going, you should chat to them, because a lot of them have come from miles and miles and miles away. And they bring these classic bikes, and some of them even ride them all the way. And they're just such an interesting bunch of people. So whilst it's a small display, it's one that you should definitely stop at.
As we walked around Goodwood Revival, we've bumped into Kev, a channel regular. Kev's all dressed up, suited and booted in his best vintage, and has come all the way from Huddersfield in his Hillman Mings. Kev, that is some mileage. How many miles is that?
About 260, I think it is.
And how's she performed?
Well, we got here. So it's fine. But yeah.
Bonnet stayed down all the way?
Bonnet stayed down on the way. It didn't use too much fuel. It hasn't used a drop of oil.
Really?
No water. Heater worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Testament to the whole thing.
And despite this absolutely horrendous weather, what are your thoughts on Goodwood?
Well, so far it's absolutely it's mind blowing, really. To be honest, it's an amazing experience. But we've only been here probably about 3/4 of an hour. It looks wonderful. Obviously, if the weather was much better, it would be better. But c'est la vie.
Well, we can put that on, and good luck for best dress, because your outfit is rather dashing today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Every year at Goodwood, there's a bit of a theme. Now, some people get a bit unstuck with this and they'll say, oh, well, is that a dressing theme or what is that? Well, here's the thing. When you first come in, and sometimes we come in different entrances, which is why I haven't featured this first of all, and also because it took me until day 3 to get it all filmed properly because of the weather, they always have a special display. So if you've ever watched any of my previous videos, last year there was Circus, the year before it was Aliens, they had Festival of Britain. That was a really good theme. I love the Festival of Britain theme. And the idea is that they play into something that was either mentioned during the era or happened during the era. Now, this year, it was playing into the introduction of Western films. And I thought this was great because it actually gave people a little bit of a chance to get into the theme this year. Whereas in previous years, that hasn't been something you could do. So we embraced it wholeheartedly and we loved the whole Western theme and got really into it. And Fred was dressed in cowboy gear and, oh, it was just wonderful. But anyway, you can probably see something going on here and thinking, what on earth is going on? Well, you may not know, but Goodwood has its own Actors Guild. And so what they do is they have all these wonderful, talented people on their books, and then they'll pick their theme, and then they'll have a selection of actors. But this isn't the only place you'll see actors, because you'll see people like Dolly and Gracie. Now, they're not part of the Actors Guild, they're separate, but you'll see various other small acts going on. So in previous years, there's been spivs, and they have lots of different things, and it's just wonderful, really. So this was the Western display this year, and I thought it was brilliant.
Now, if you came to the Revival and you saw this garage called Stewart and Arden, you might have been wondering what on earth is going on. However, there is one man that probably knows more about Stewart and Arden than anyone else, because it is his special interest. Richard, tell us, what is Stewart and Arden?
Stewart and Arden, a name that loads of people would have walked past here and not clocked it, but it's got a hats off to Goodwood for clocking it, really. Stewart and Arden were a very big dealership network in London, and they were really Morris's first dealer. William Morris, when he started out and he was making the first, his first kind of incarnation of the Morris car, those early bull-nose Morrises, sort of 1913, 1914, the first kind of person, I think, that sort of took an interest in potentially selling them for him, I think it was Gordon Stewart, which makes up the Stewart and Arden. And basically they were like one of the first dealers, and they stuck by Morris for a long old time, and they're a big part of the Morris story, really. So if you've got a Morris, whether it be a pre-war Morris, like a Morris 10 or something like that, or whatever, a Morris 8, that, if it was registered in London, it's probably Stewart and Arden car. If you've got a post-war Morris, a minor, a Mini, an 1100, if it's a London registered car, 9 times out of 10, it's these guys. So they were big players. They had a big dealership in Acton, like headquarters with like a service depot, and then they had regional dealerships in various different areas, sort of in the greater London area. So big dealer. So it's great to see the name pop up. I remember you said, "Oh, there's something I've got to show you," and I came around the corner. And I was like,
and when did Stewart and Arden close?
I think they got bought by somebody, and it was sort of...
Was it Wadding Stringer?
I can't remember. It is online. You can find it out, but by the kind of early to mid 70s, they'd moved out of the Acton premises, and I think they were still sort of using the name. But come, you know what it's like with BL, with all the different makes and everything, because they were, the Nuffield names originally, so they were Morris, but you also had your MG, Riley, Wolseley. They were very much a sort of Nuffield thing. So when it all became BL and you had all these different names all of a sudden, I think it all got a bit convoluted, and they sort of came back out of the picture. So certainly up until the sort of early 70s, they were, selling cars. And but there is information online, I'm sure.
I love how Richard has to stop himself and tell you all there's information online. But this is the thing, if you come to Goodwood Revival, you'll find that the smallest of details have been researched. And that, for me, is one of the things that makes it a really quality event. And of course, it's probably Richard's highlight. Let's go and see what else we've got on show here. Next stop is Earl's Court Motor Show. Now, this is one of my favourite bits of Goodwood, and I talked about this last year when I said that this section kind of looks forward instead of always looking back, so you get a really great mix of new technology and heritage. So come on, let's go and have a look inside and see what we can find.
For the uninitiated who maybe don't know about this, but I know plenty of you will, the Earl's Court Motor Show was a show back in the day in London where companies would launch their new vehicles, and there'd be lots of fanfare, there'd be lots of excitement, and therefore what manufacturers now do is they try and bring their new vehicles and show them off here, but they also mix it in with a bit of heritage and a bit of fun. Now, this particular display was BMW. Now, BMW pull out the stops every single year and they do something different. So this year it was almost fairground fun. They had Zolta giving you a prediction, which essentially was to buy a BMW, and I thought, well, you've got that wrong, I won't be doing that. And then they were also doing fun little temporary tattoos, which was quite a funny little thing. And it follows on really, because Goodwood had a tattoo parlour last year. They were doing real tattoos as well as fake ones. So there you go, you can see that there. And again, that's free, so I find that quite a nice little add-on. Now, Mini as well, although part of the BMW family, had their own display, and they had the all-new Aceman on. So this Aceman is quite an interesting car because it sits in the range as the only Mini that has been designed to be electric from day one. Now, Jaguar out as well, they had a few cars, but for me the real fun was the BMW stand because there was lots of interactivity, there was lots for people to do, people to see, and whilst yes, it wasn't massively about the cars in the same way that Jaguar were, it did bring a bit of life and colour to Earl's Court, which of course was the spirit of Earl's Court at the time. Now, something that Jaguar did that I did really like was they had this case out. So have a look at this. They've got all different artefacts from the history of motoring, all neatly packaged up for people to have a look at. And it was stuff that you probably have never seen before that they brought down. And the JLR team are really passionate about what they do. And I do think that came across in the stand, the knowledge, when you were talking to people. So whilst maybe they didn't have fun family activities or a deck chair situation where you could sit yourself down and grab a drink from a bar, it was still very fun.
As many of you know, I'm a big believer in starting them young, because if you can get that hobby locked in nice and early, you can take children with you to places like Goodwood Revival, and you can also get them excited in your hobby and help keep the love of classic cars alive for the next generation. Now, one of my favourite companies that really tap into that ethos is the Austin Pedal Car Company, because they make these beautiful pedal cars and they refurbish them and they keep them going and keep that spirit alive. Now, many of you will have seen I've covered the Sectrington Cup many a time, and we saw the J40s when we were walking round, and today we have brought down one of our youngest enthusiasts within our little friendship group. We'll call her baby Delilah. She's not so much of a baby anymore. She's 18 months old. Now, yesterday we let Delilah go across to the fairground and we let her go on the J40s, and we could not take her off. She had her hands on those steering wheels, gripped at 10 and 2, and she was like, again, again, again. And so anyway, I came down and spoke to the Austin Pedal Car Company and I said, can Delilah have a real go and get pushed around? Now, because she's only a wee little thing, because she's only 18 months old, she's going to get pushed around. But we're going to show you Delilah having a little bit of fun, and all the details for the Austin Pedal Car Company are in the description box below if you want to know anything more about them. But Delilah, take it away, because today it's you who is driving a classic. Great news, the sun is shining on our very last day at Goodwood, which means the beehive might hold up. Now, you might see that I am surrounded by old cars, so I'm obviously in my own personal heaven. But this is the pre-66 car park. Now, I put this in the video every single year, and I tell you all to come and have a look, because all of these classics are pre-66. And if that's not your bag, there's also a tax-exempt car park too, which I never get to because I spend hours here, and then I think, whoops, I should actually probably be inside. Now, make sure if you are coming to come and have a look, because you'll see stuff that you may never have seen before. So let's take a quick peek at what's here already before the gates have even opened.
It is so me to start off with a Morris Minor, but there were loads, as you would probably expect there to be, because the Morris Minor was one of Britain's most popular cars, and so it is really heartwarming to see so many of them here. And I'll tell you what else that I really enjoy about this car park, and you might spot it as we go down the row, is that there aren't just British number plates. There are number plates from all over Europe, and I really enjoy that, because if you think about it, a lot of people would panic about driving from, say, the north or driving from much further afield in the UK. Whereas there's all these plucky people that have gone, no, you're all right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to travel across various countries to get to Goodwood in my classic car. And I also felt really guilty because I'm very precious about Nancy post-restoration. So for those of you that are new to the channel, Nancy is my Morris Minor. And I was going to drive her down, but I was really worried about this field. And I was so worried that Nancy would end up covered in mud, because it's only a few years since the restoration and I like to keep her really nice. And I thought, oh, I don't want all the mud up inside the car. So I ended up bringing the Proton, which I was really grateful for on the way home, because we didn't get home till 2:30 in the morning. But I kind of wish that I'd had Nancy, and this area really made me miss her so much. And look, there's a little bit of a confession here that I'm going to make to you. I really wanted to make a full-length video of this car park, and I promise you next year, if the weather is good enough for me to do so, I'm going to do it, because this car park is so interesting. It's a car show in its own right. Now, this is where I'm going to give you a cheeky tip. If you are one of these people that can only do Goodwood for one day, but you spend the day before travelling down, or the next day you need to leave super early from your hotel, this car park is free to enter. So what I would advise you do is spend a bit of time going through this car park and seeing some of the stuff. Because, I mean, have you ever seen one of these before? It's a Rambler. Now, I'd never seen one before. And I said, what even is a Rambler? And thankfully, the owner had a little bit of a natter with me. But I'm going to have to go back and do some proper research and hopefully track one down for a video. Although the chances are pretty slim, because apparently there is only one Rambler in the UK. okay. But if I'm wrong, let me know, because I would love to be wrong. I'd love to give one on test. Now, I really enjoyed showing you this bit of the car park. I realise it's very brief. I hope you like what you've seen. And if you are coming next year, bring your classic, because it's well worth it. Now, this is the Revive and Thrive area, and goodness me, was it busy. Look at this. This was one of the busiest areas of Goodwood when you came away from the track. You could barely get anywhere near it. But if you wanted to see amazing vintage fashion, if you wanted to see performers that you never see in this country, well, unless you're paying hundreds of pounds for a ticket, people like Dita Von Teese, here they were. Now, something went wrong when I was filming this bit, probably because I was so excited to see Dita Von Teese, and it ended up going really slowly. But I just wanted to show you, Dita Von Teese was here, and this was probably one of my biggest highlights of Goodwood, because I've been a fan of Dita since I was a teenager. So to see her in real life, I was starstruck. And it's not just that either. You get dancing, you get shopping. Oh, this is just a sensational bit.
Well, I tell you who I didn't expect to bump into today. It's Scotty Fairnote, and we're at Goodwood Revival. Scotty, you're looking very dapper. What are you doing here today?
Thank you. I'm here to enjoy all the old cars.
Yeah.
I'm here to dress up, you know, have a good time. So it's not often I'll look this well, but yeah.
No, well, you look absolutely cracking. Now, what's this all about, clothing range you're doing? What's going on?
So on the 22nd of this month, we're going to be launching Raymond's Hardware.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it, because obviously it's something that's tailored a lot more to my audience. But yeah. That'll be on the 22nd.
Well, tell us a little bit about it. What's going on with it?
So about a year ago, we launched Raymond's with my friend Connell, and it was mainly like country wear, which I do sort of enjoy, but I much prefer the sort of, you know, rugged like workwear.
Oh,
and we pushed with that, and now we're launching it. So it's clothes that not only you can wear in the street, but also you can wear at work.
Oh, that's brilliant. Now, you've been at Goodwood Revival for a few days now. What's been your favourite thing that you've seen?
Oh, favourite thing I've seen? I mean, I do love a good Spitfire, and I know it's mainly for the cars and such, but oh man, I get goosebumps when I see them.
Oh no, the planes are ace. Have they taken you out in a helicopter yet?
No, I've not been out in the helicopter. I tell you what, to be honest, the thing that I enjoyed the most, I got invited down here by Surprise Burrell, the steam engine people, and it was quite good fun spending the day with them yesterday.
And what were you doing with them?
We were threshing, and I don't know farmer terms, but they get wheat, they chuck it in the top, and then grain comes out the bottom. Whatever that is, the farmer people will probably be like, ew, that's this or that, whatever, I don't know. But
so you've had a good time then?
Brilliant, yeah.
And you're going to be back next year?
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much. Have a great afternoon.
Oh, it's quite all right. Cheers.
And I think we'll see you at Rustival, won't we?
Yes, we will, yeah.
Hey, see you at Rustival.
I'll be coming to Rustival.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay, so I pulled off a cheeky little number, and I thought, I'm going to sneakily film this and show you all at home. Now, this is an area that I've always longed to get into. This is the Rolex drivers area. Now, you can only get into this if you've got one of the Rolex passes. So you either get that because you're a Rolex partner, or because you are a driver or the drivers plus one. So I was able to get in here this year, and this was an absolute eye-opener. Now, I've always wondered what happens beyond the barrier, and it's one of those things that you always want to see, but you can never get in. Now, this year we got in, and this was very exciting. One of the things for me was, is it was so much bigger than I thought it was going to be. Now, I loved that it had its very own theme, it had its own performer. This is the thing about Goodwood. They don't miss the drama anywhere they go. Everything is so well thought out. Now, this inside here was meant to be a vintage ski chalet. And as you can see here, it was all decked out right down to the beryl chinaware, the old iron. And it was just an area for people to chill out, grab food and relax.
As you can probably tell, there's a lot going on behind us. And whilst Goodwood has closed down for today, we are over the road. Now, over the road is brilliant because you get fairground rides, you get bands, you get places to eat, you can continue shopping, and there's lots of fun. So let me give you a little bit of a taster for what to expect if you're coming next year and coming over the road.
As you cross over the road, don't miss Sky Cinema. It's not a charged for feature. Sometimes I hear people thinking it is, but it's not. And if you ask them and they've got some left, they'll even give you some popcorn, which actually is a really nice little break from everything. And you can sit down and chill out. And if you're lucky enough and you catch it at the right time, you can also sit in one of the classic cars for that drive-in movie feel. Now really for me, Over the Road comes into life at night when all the fairground rides are lit up, you see all the steam coming off because a lot of these rides are steam powered, and you see these vintage rides, some of them are from the Victorian times, like those rocking boats, come into life. This is one of my favourite bits of Goodwood, and I share it every year because unapologetically I enjoy it every year, even when it's some of the same rides. I love going on, and it just brings back amazing memories of my first year at Goodwood when, again, it was one of my favourite bits. And this year there was even a vintage arcade, which you played on old pennies. Now there is also shopping. I don't really tend to do the shopping over here because I'm so into the rides, but you can do that too.
Right, well, the sun is setting, the last race has been won, which means that Goodwood Revival 2024 is over, which is rubbish because I don't really have much to look forward to now apart from Rustable and the NEC, I guess. But this year has been a bit of a mixed bag. We've had terrible weather on some days and we've finished on a high with some glorious sunshine. However, all the rain coming down hasn't dampened the mood. We have had a fantastic time. This video is probably not as rich in content as previous years because it's been really difficult to film with all the rain, but I hope you've enjoyed what we've managed to capture, and hopefully the spirit and the magic of Goodwood Revival has come through your screen and will tempt you to come next year. Now that's it from me today. I'm losing my voice, we've got a very long drive home, and until next time, take care and drive safely.